You are welcome to HN What's Your Say? The #1 listening show where we discuss real issues with real people like you. We are still featuring R. Kelly. Real name Robert Sylvester Kelly. Also known as the R&B King. On July 11, the year 2019, R. Kelly was arrested by Homeland Police on claims of abuse and trafficking, and a day later he was indicted by federal prosecutors in New York and Chicago on 18 charges including child exploitation, CP, trafficking, kidnapping, forced labor, racketeering and obstruction of justice. Also following his arrest, the United States Attorney in the Eastern District of New York filed a letter in support of permanent detention of the R&B King, a letter which by preponderance of the said evidence concluded that defendant's release would pose a risk of flight and a risk of obstruction of justice. In response to this letter, the United States magistrate judge to whom R. Kelly was first arraigned denied him bail on grounds of both the possibility of obstructing justice, and being a flight risk as alleged. But was R. Kelly really a flight risk? Or was he most likely to obstruct justice as alleged? This allegation of obstruction of justice has since remained a point of great concern considering it is on this assumption that the entire idea of retrying R. Kelly for charges he had already been tried for back in 2008 was based. Ignoring that a Fifth Amendment right every U.S. citizen must enjoy that protects one from being subjected to the same charges twice, R. Kelly was retried in an act of double jeopardy which until today has remained unresolved. But what does the Fifth Amendment actually say? It says in continuation that nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. And the interpretation is that you cannot be prosecuted for the same offense twice. It is also important to note that while the common law suggested that a conviction of acquittal should have been reached, the constitutional rule is that jeopardy actually does attach much earlier. In jury trials, the moment the jury is sworn, jeopardy is immediately attached, and even if a conviction is not reached, the charges will not be brought back to the same person. In trials before a judge with no jury, the moment the first set of evidence is arraigned before court, jeopardy is immediately attached. This legally means that for as long as jeopardy has been attached, even if or not the termination was erroneous, the second trial for the same charges will be barred. The reason here being that the defendant in fact has a right to have his trial completed by a particular tribunal, and therefore stopping it midway is not in any way the defendant's responsibility. The assumption here is that the defendant has legitimate interest in completing the trial once and for all in order to stop the confrontation with society, and that he should be spared the expense and ordeal of dealing with multiple trials and having to live with the possibility of conviction. Multiple trials of same charges may also represent a rigged system, considering the prosecution may strengthen their case each time after reviewing the defendant's arguments and evidence already presented in the previous trials. The government's argument therefore in R. Kelly case that saw them return charges from his 2008 trial was the allegation that R. Kelly obstructed justice. Interestingly though, again during the Chicago trial, R. Kelly and his co-accused were all acquitted for the obstruction of justice charges, completely erasing the only excuse the prosecutors had when subjecting R. Kelly to a second trial in violation of his amendment rights. Because this was going to become a valid point of contestation by the defense, the Chicago judge found it necessary to again rig this particular trial by assuming guilt where there was no guilt by said preponderance of evidence. According to the Chicago federal judge therefore, even if R. Kelly was acquitted for the obstruction of justice charges, the judge personally still concluded that the obstruction was there, and this was purposely assumed to legitimize the second trial for the very same charges R. Kelly was acquitted from as early as 2008. It's gray areas such as these that cause many to worry about the destiny of our country. If judges are going to act against their own jury decisions on purpose to suit their own purpose and narrative as opposed to what their primary responsibility is and should be, which is to make sure justice prevails whether or not it feels discomforting for some groups. If judges can freely do this, then one cannot be guaranteed justice for simply being a U.S. citizen, and selective justice may eventually mean selective injustice for the disadvantaged groups in society. And this is among the many other violations of defendants' rights we haven't recited in this video. The two R. Kelly trials were comprised of a series of rights abuses that saw the government break the laws while pretending to protect some. But because the Supreme Court of this land remains a trusted safeguard, there is reason to believe that the king of R&B will eventually be vindicated. In a recent message from R. Kelly himself as conveyed by his god sister Lele, he does mention that he is in fact in great spirit and looking forward to coming back home to step in the name of love with happy people like never before. There is no doubt that Robert will soon be returning to us, and when he does, we will all have good reason to celebrate. According to Daphne Howard, I don't know what the hell they are waiting on to let this man go free. It seems to me that the government set up Kells. Everyone that was involved should go to jail, including the government prosecutors. We have got crazy things happening to our nation, and now a government that does whatever the hell they want with black people's lives. R. Kelly should stay strong as God is in the midst of it all, and I promise you all of them layers are going to rip what they sowed. We love you, Kells, oh yes we do. According to Shia Law, hopefully when Kelly gets out he stays away from all who caused him to go to jail for their greed, jealousy, hate, those who used him for success or to hurt him, those that wanted to destroy him and his legacy. Be done with all of them, even if it is family you have to walk away from. Please stay distant to all of them. Even celebrities that didn't believe in you. Do not be helping them better their careers when some never looked your way as you were prejudiced. Trust in God and put yourself first, then everything else will fall into place. We love you, R. Kelly, and it's time you come back to reclaim your place in the music world. Free our legend today. Free R. Kelly. If you wish to take part in a live interview on this channel discussing any of these topics, let us know by emailing us on sashahnnewsroom@gmail.com for scheduling. That is all we had for you today on HN What's Your Say. To keep updated whenever we post a new video, subscribe to this channel now. Also remember to hit the bell icon and enable notifications. And feel free to share your opinions with us in the comment section below, and let us know if you would like us to publish your views in our next release. We value all our subscribers' opinions.